So hi everybody, my name's Edge Drew, and this is my first video. Now I know this video is a bit cheesy. I mean, it was a school project, so there were some things that maybe have gone slow. At one point I was so tired I could barely record anything without my voice sounding like a sloth. So I'm sorry about some of the problems with my voice. Also, I'm new to all this, so there are definitely some things that I have to work out. But during the 40 to 50 hours that I worked on this freaking video, I do have to say that I did learn quite a bit. And so I'm hoping to improve, and I'm looking forward to hear some feedback from anybody who decides to click on this video. And yeah, just enjoy. Well, I hope this goes over well. Today I'm joined by my friend Clea. She's from Albania, which is way over in southeastern Europe.
Hi.
So this video is for our English project. We thought it'd be more entertaining if we embarrassed ourselves not in person, but behind a computer screen.
Because we all know nobody will remember some ordinary project in class, at least this one is a bit unique.
Yep, so here it goes. The topic of this project was school conflict.
Well, actually, we're going to call it the dark side of the school.
That's kinda dramatic, but I like it.
Yeah, I thought so. So, before you start, let's get to the root of the problem, teenage behavior.
Okay, but that could mean basically anything, so what exactly do you mean?
Well, if I were to list everything I would take all day, and we don't have the kind of time. Let's just start by how they act in the first place.
Okay, so?
Like their language.
So you basically mean like when they curse?
You know how they always say f*** and...
Yeah, I guess so. But we're so used to it by now that what really causes conflict is how offensive you would say something.
Yeah, and this is why both students and teachers are always fighting, because usually the conflict starts because of how unrespectful they are. Next, I would say that teens are always obsessed over some type of technology. And they are always present on their social media.
Yeah, like I always see stuff going on Facebook or Instagram.
Well, sure, but I was referring to how their social life is more important than their school. They kill their time on their problems, while at the same time they are killing their future as well.
Well, yeah, that is pretty popular nowadays, but not all of us do that.
I know, but it sure does create problems between students and their parents or teachers.
Yeah, and we always talk as if we know better, and I'd say that's why so many people are stubborn nowadays.
Exactly, which is why we should instead be a bit more humble and understanding.
Sounds pretty impossible, doesn't it? But it's still a good idea.
Yeah, at least it gives a better understanding of our own experience.
So I guess I'll start. I don't think I really had a conflict when I started school, but I do remember one incident. At this time I was in first grade, and it was my first time at a real school.
Oh, really? That's weird. I didn't know that people, when are in first grade, are for the first time in school. So, people, remember this and write it down. When people go in school in the first grade, they see the school for the first time.
I mean, like, I was homeschooled before and I didn't go to kindergarten.
The kindergarten is not school. Kindergarten is kindergarten. School is school.
I'd say kindergarten is considered school.
No, it's not considered. So, did you write it down? Okay, let's go on.
Anyways, like I said, before this I was homeschooled, and I had quite an imagination, but I was also pretty good at math, reading, art, and music. But as far as stereotypes go, I was a bit lacking in social skills. I was well behaved and everything, but I was a bit behind on what was cool. So one day, during the first few weeks of school, I went outside for recess and immediately saw all the guys in my class starting to fight each other. Now, being the 6-year-old that I was, I quickly joined in. I think we were supposed to be playing as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something, but I just winged it and tried out my epic ninja skills. What nobody told me was that we were play fighting, and, well, I took it quite seriously. And my poor friend was the victim of my fists. I mean, just imagine yourself going out for recess to play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with your friends, and then all of a sudden the new kid comes over and starts punching you in the face. Yeah. So anyway, I got in trouble. I think I gave him a bloody nose and he had to go home, so whoops.
That's funny and all, but it wasn't exactly a conflict.
I mean, it depends on your point of view, but if that doesn't satisfy you, I have a bunch of other stories for you as well.
Did you at least say you're sorry?
Sure, I think so. I don't really remember, but I wouldn't worry. I think the guy was fine.
Sure.
Anyways, a concrete example of having conflict was a few years later. I was a part of the drama club.
Ooh, I can't believe that.
And I got along with everybody pretty well, even though they could be a bit annoying. I think we were preparing for Peter Pan, and so I was backstage waiting for my turn with about 4 to 5 other kids. Then came a girl in the 5th grade, and she was a bit older than us. I guess she was bored or something, but as some of the kids were joking around, she shouted, "Let's kill that guy," and pointed at me. Now, I don't know what it was like at your school, but at mine, if a 5th grader told us to do something, we'd follow them like blind sheep to the slaughter. So basically, I got mugged by all these kids, while the girl was just looking over the whole situation like a mob boss or something. I eventually escaped and was able to take shelter in the gym, but not long after, the director came over to find out what had happened. I was too traumatized to say anything, so the girl who started it confessed and broke down as well. I bet the teacher was thrilled to have 2 crying kids on their hands.
That was better, but it seems you didn't really solve anything.
Well, she did eventually say sorry, and I forgave her because it was stupid in the first place. Then the next week during a group meeting, she came up to me out of nowhere and apologized. And I was like, okay. Then all of a sudden she just grabbed me and hugged me. And I was just like, who are you?
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think we ever talked again after that though.
How tragic.
I know, right? It was so...
Can I show something now?
Wait, I got one last juicy example.
Fine.
Okay, so this last one was in 4th grade, and the joy of school was weighing down on me. I don't know what it was, but I had this feeling that it would be my last day at this school. We were on our way to PE, or physical education if you'd like. I call it phys ed for short. And I suspected the gym teacher was going to introduce us to yoga. My family clashed with this lady before, usually because she didn't care what the kids did, and she always ignored what the parents wanted. So anyways, once my class arrived, the teacher, let's call her Miss Gillagag, put all of us on mats and then put a yoga tape on. I didn't really do any of the moves because I'm not really into that new agey stuff, and I'm also Christian, so I don't know, there's a few things in there that I'm not so sure about. When the instructor would tell us, bow down like a dog, that raises a few alarms, don't you think? I know that's what it's called, but I don't know. I'd rather play some type of sport than doing yoga anyways. So, back to the story. Being the wisecrack that I was, I stayed in crisscross applesauce position. After a while, Miss Gillagag noticed how I deliberately refused to do the moves until she called me to her office. She sat me down, said the yoga part was part of my final grade in PE, and she would fail me if I didn't do it. But I still was reluctant. You can't just force me to do something that I don't agree with. So then she manipulated me by saying my parents would like me to do the exercise, just not think of where it comes from. I, not wanting to make a big deal out of this, just nodded my head and went back to the mat. But I still didn't do any of the moves. I didn't really care. I was the Mahatma Gandhi of the class now. Okay, so that reference might not be the most appropriate one in this case, but you get my drift. The teacher really didn't care at this time either. She felt like she had really won. And I guess if she really wanted me to leave, she did win. Because once I told my mom what happened, she drove straight to the school district headquarters and demanded a transfer from my school to where she was working. This new school that I went to wasn't as great of a school, but it was only first semester, and I'd have to say it was one of the best semesters I did have.
Wow, quite a story.
Yep, never really resolved it with Miss Gillagag, but I'd say everything worked out in the end.
Now I'm going to tell my story, and I will tell my experience about how I felt in the first grade. Since I have studied in Albania, my experience is a bit different from you. Just to know edge, I also was a good student and I had great grades. And that was the reason why the teacher put me to teach another girl. And in the end of the year, I had great grades in my report card, but I didn't get a certificate, even though the rest of my classmates did. And that was my first disappointment. This not only because of the certificate, but even because the teacher didn't support me.
Well, that is pretty unfair, and I have to admit you are pretty smart. But technically, I don't know if that would count as a conflict.
It was a conflict that I kept inside me for a long time without letting anyone else know.
So it was more like a personal conflict.
Yeah, but I would say that the viewers probably are expecting from me to tell a big story. But the problem is that I haven't been a conflict person, and all my conflicts, let's say, are of this kind. And I want to say that this is the first time that I'm letting things come out. And I really feel good about this.
Well, I'm glad too.
The second problem that I had during this period of life was during the math class. The teacher gave us a difficult math problem to solve, and she picked out only a few students, except for me, and none of them could solve it, but I solved it within seconds. But she didn't expect that I could do it, and after that, she again let me out.
Okay, so I can kind of see where this is a conflict, but does this really kind of fit with the topic?
Yeah, but the theme of our project and our video was the dark side of the school, so this
That's
is
true.
the dark side.
Well, you still have me quite interested. Was that all, or do you have more?
No, in fact, since I'm still venting, I want to add something more. So, this story with the same teacher. My mom took me to school, and that day I had gone in school like 5 or maximum 10 minutes late, and the teacher didn't accept me to come in, and I really felt bad because she offended me in front of others and didn't accept me. So I got back to search for my mom, and I went around the schoolyard looking for her, but I couldn't find her. And then I was at the middle of the schoolyard crying and feeling really bad, and then I waited there for around 1 hour and went to the class again, and she accepted me, and I did the whole lesson that day. And then when I went back home, I told my mom the story and how bad I felt, and I have never forgot this part of my life. But in the end, all these stories had made me a stronger person. Don't you think so, since you know me well?
Yeah, definitely. So now that we're at the end of our project, I'd like to thank you, Clea, for all the stories you shared and for helping me with the script. I'd also like to thank all you guys for taking the time to listen. We really hope you liked it.
I really want to thank H for inviting me on his first video, and I really wish him luck, and thank you all you guys for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe, and I will be one of the first.
So I guess until next...
Oh, and wait, please, H, I want to add something. I really hope that our teacher has liked this video, and I hope we get 10s, because in Albania we get 10s, not 8s.
I hope we get A's as well. So, until the next video.
Bye!